Welcome to Bad Guy Wrastling. This is the second, since it's a Friday recap, wrestling recap. This is the second recap of the night for AEW Rampage for February 3rd, 2023. So we already did SmackDown, and now let's talk about some Rampage. So hour-long show, so it goes by pretty fast. We had technically 4 matches on this one, and a bunch of promos and video packages and things like that. So let's get into it. So the first match was a trios tag match for the championship involving the Elite, and then the grouping of All Ego Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. And we also have a second match here, which was Swerve Strickland versus Brian Pillman Jr. And Strickland was out there with his entourage, the Moguls. And then we have our third match, which was a women's tag match with Toni Storm and Saraya versus the Renegade twins of Robin Renegade and Charlotte Renegade. And then the main event was Christopher Daniels versus Roosh. So, first match here, trios match, Elite versus All Ego, Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. It kind of feels like it's a victory lap for the Elite after, winning their best of 7, getting the tag trios that they technically never lost back and everything. So, it's a weird grouping. Ethan Page with this whole thing with Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy contract situations. It's strange. It really is. But I will say low expectations going into the match, but mostly because, we know who Matt Hardy is. Absolutely. Icon. Ethan Page is getting a lot of screen time, so we know his story. But Isaiah Cassidy, he's a member of Private Party, but in this kind of run he's doing here, we don't really know much about him, but he's kind of starting to like what I'm seeing. Definitely talented, but I need to know more about him. I need to get some personality and things, so it's kind of getting hard. It's hard to really care as much in this sense. But anyways, the match goes through really good, lots of interesting stuff going on. Like I said, low expectations, but the match really built, especially Isaiah Cassidy. He was the impressive one here. The Elite, you know what they're gonna do. They're gonna bring it. But Cassidy it kind of I was underwhelmed by him, but now I gotta take another look. I gotta re-look at my bias here, and wondering. So that's why I'm calling. I want some more promotion for him. I want to see what's going on behind the scenes of the storylines, as far as I want to see more about him and his persona. I want to see his gimmick, not just coming out to the ring. I want to see some backstory, things like that. Because right now that tag trio just feels like a collection of individuals and not a team. So let's get some more personality here built into here. I want to know more. The Elite win this match, but they definitely had to work harder than I was expecting, which is good for the match. It kept it interesting, so good. Still feels like a victory lap, though. Never in doubt that they weren't going to hold the titles. So moving on, you get a Ricky Starks promo next. It's good and direct, and Ricky can sometimes ramble, so I did it like that. It wasn't corny, no excess talking. I'm feeling it, I'm digging it. So not much needs to be said on that. Ricky Starks, at least we didn't get a whatever that is. I do like Ricky, but I just don't like that pose. And so he's bringing it for, he's got to go through the gauntlet, the Garcia Guevara gauntlet, where he's got to face all of them to get to Jericho. So good setting up. We're going to get that on Wednesday for Dynamite. Then we get back to another promo. This one was fun. It was I don't know. I have a split feel. Like it's just corny with Sanjay Dutt and then the Danhausen response, but at the same time, I'm loving it. So if I'm loving it, then I guess it doesn't matter. So we get a statement from Sanjay Dutt and everything, and honestly at this point, I don't even care because Danhausen goes in there and he just kills it, and like just talking about does he need to put another curse on him and all this stuff. So it was good. I enjoy it. I think there's a real opportunity here because Best Friends was just kind of not going anywhere, and I think especially with so they did the push with Trent when he came back from injury. It didn't seem to work, so they threw him back in. Now they're wearing tie-dye and stuff like that. But this little stable, this faction and stuff, Wheeler Yuta never really fed into it, so I'm glad they took him out. But I think they can really do some good things here, especially with Orange Cassidy leading the helm here to really develop Best Friends, and really get to that emotional connection with them. They've been there. They got people know them, but you don't expect them to do anything. And that wrestling isn't always about who's the best wrestler. It's about who can entertain a lot. And so I think there's a golden opportunity here to help expand out Best Friends within here. So let's get into the second match. So this is Swerve Strickland, and he's going against Brian Pillman Jr. And I gotta say this newer opening, or at least I don't think it's the old one because they have the Swerve in Our Glory stuff. His new opening is excellent, and he's really starting to find his stride. Instead of just saying "whose house" over and over again, I think he's really starting to develop like a personality for this show. I don't know anything about him before this. I think he was in Hit Row or something, but that was really like a not on my radar because don't watch NXT. And so his mogul entourage looks good and they look intimidating. I mean, there's some interesting looking people, but the fact is they look intimidating, and I like it. I think this whole thing is good and it's put together, and this is such they are, I think they're going to hit it out of the park with Swerve on this version of him. Not the face that comes out and that people like him. I think they really understood that this is where he's going to do his best, and this is where he's going to develop more of his character, maybe even his own wrestling abilities, just because I don't know that much about him. Pillman still hasn't found his groove yet, but for now he's a name. I mean, it says it on his trunks. And then this even includes with the Varsity Blondes with Griff Garrison, who I had to look up, who's out right now, had surgery and stuff like that. I do like Brian Pillman's look a little more now. I think he needs to go away from just the name, but like he needs to get some actual notoriety of his own going. I think that's important, not just the legacy of who his father was. Because you look at it, people my age know who he is, but younger people might not know. And so AEW obviously skews a little older. So that might not be a problem, but I don't want another Brian Pillman. I want this guy to come out, and I want to be entertained. So Swerve Strickland, the match itself, I mean, it was fairly fast. It's what you expected. Swerve is looking dangerous, and Brian Pillman, I don't know. I feel neutral about him. I don't have any reason to hate him or like him. It's just whatever at this point. Swerve wins the match, and then Dustin comes out, and because they're attacking Brian, and this kind of feels like it's going to be a holdover. So probably going to get a match between the two of them very soon, and it's going to be a holdover to kind of keep Swerve going until Keith Lee returns. And that's where this is really enough time to develop this new Swerve Strickland before Keith Lee comes back and wrecks house. So I like what they're doing. I like how I don't think there's any actual like legit reasons Keith Lee isn't on TV right now, except probably to extend out this feud. So good. The match was whatever, but good storyline development. So give that a good feel to it. Third match, which barely even going to talk about this. Toni Storm Saraya versus Robin, the Renegade Twins, Robin and Charlotte Renegade. Obviously, obvious win. It happened. It happened fast too. So they win, and then they paint green, like DX green L's on the loser's just like stomach area, and so furthering, this is really just a further of like the homegrown talent versus the people that are brought in here. Not much to talk about. I don't even know how much this was necessary. AEW really likes to throw big people against like kind of like jobbers or things like that. They do it a lot, and so it was cool to see Saraya out there. She's still kind of new. Got the new factor on there. So I guess that's the best thing I can say about it. So they win, and we move on now. I guess we'll probably hear more about it on Dynamite. So leads us to the main event. Christopher Daniels versus Roosh. What I'm looking for in this match is really how good can Roosh look leading up to Dynamite. Christopher Daniels, he's only here just really because he's known, but he's not a regular, so he's just here to kind of push Roosh. I would assume. There's a lot of interference during the commercial break, and it all culminates with Roosh coming up with that green microphone cable and choking him and everything. So there was some comical moments in this. It ends with Roosh winning, and so but not before the stack of cash that's handed off to Preston Vance, or 10 from the Dark Order. What is he? Dangerous Dog Pero something at this point? I don't even know what's going on with him. Like, what is the point of his character? They made a big deal about him leaving the Dark Order. We don't even see the Dark Order anymore. And now this guy's kind of like a background character. Maybe he's on AEW Dark. I don't know. But what was the point of all this? So anyways, Roosh has a good match with Daniels, Christopher Daniels. It's hard growing. It is not a match that makes you feel like, it was going to be a cakewalk or something like that. And here's the interesting part. Does it instill confidence in the storyline, in the sense of like, Roosh is going to take out Danielson? But my thing would be, no, I don't. After this match, I don't feel like he's going to take out Danielson. I feel like Danielson's going to go in with the advantage now, even though he's injured and all this stuff. For Danielson to be injured means nothing, because that's what he's been doing his whole career. But I don't know. I feel like it was a missed opportunity. So hopefully next week, I'm sure what they were trying to hype up is how dangerous Roosh is, but it didn't really come across that way. And so I'm sure what they were hoping was to set up the fact that, like, with Danielson injured, you're going to get this guy who's super physical and come in there, and then he's, Bryan Danielson isn't 100%. So Roosh could really take him out, and it's not that Roosh is better than him. It's just the fact that he won't get the title match because he could lose this, and so I think that was blown. I don't think that's the image that's going to be portrayed here. So we'll see. So a pretty good show. My favorite part was probably Swerve Strickland and and the promo with Sanjay Dutt and Danhausen. That was good. The first match was good too. Really good. So the first match and then the Swerve Strickland was probably the highlight for me. So overall, this gets a good grade. It's not great or anything like that. It was, but Rampages are hard. It's 1 hour, and it's typically more match and less story focused. So it is what it is. So anyway, so that was a lot of wrestling. Fridays are 3 hours. It's almost like, but it's different because Raw is 3 hours, but this is two different companies, two different things going on. So anyways, this is the Rampage, AEW Rampage for February 3rd, 2023 and this is Bad Guy Wrastling. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you like and subscribe for more, and I will see you next time.